Hello, 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 you beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of The Soulful Self. Today, I am going to share with you guys my recent experience I just had with ayahuasca, kind of how it showed up in my life at the most perfect time, and everything that unfolded for me in my 3-day ceremony that I just spent there right before I left for my trip. So I'm going to dive in, give you guys kind of a life update of what's going on and just the crazy things that have been unfolding for me. So, yeah, I'm going to get right to it. So, I have done ayahuasca before. This was my fourth time going. And the craziest part to me is that every time that I've went to go to ayahuasca, it has shown up in my life in the most divine timing way. I manifested doing ayahuasca, and when I first learned about it, I thought that I was going to have to go to Arrhythmia, which is in Costa Rica, and it is not cheap to go, and I did not have the resources. And I just knew deep down, I felt so called to this medicine that it was important in my journey, and I would write it down in my like manifesting techniques all the time. And then my dad told his friend who knew a shaman, and I got to go, and it was just an amazing experience. And then they took me a second time. I had just broken up with my ex-boyfriend, actually, and I'm not kidding. Within 48 hours after I made that decision and we broke up, I received a message asking if I wanted to go to ayahuasca. I believe it was like a month later. And then the third time that I went, my sister decided she was ready to go, and I got to bring her and share that experience with her. And that's where I met my boyfriend. And then this time, my dad was going, and I was thinking about it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask him if it's okay with him, if he's okay with me being there when he's there, or because it's like very vulnerable to be in this space and everybody's sharing their experiences and everybody's dealing with some very deep emotional, trauma and all these things that happen to us in our life that build up over time. And it's just like a very intense way of healing. So I didn't know if he would want me to be there when he was there, but he said, yeah, obviously it's totally okay if you come. So I got to go and have that experience with my dad right before I left on my big trip, which was so special. And I think it was really important for our relationship. It just healed a lot of things that happen throughout life, and things add up, and people hold on to emotions and feelings. And everybody I think kind of has this different narrative about what happened in situations, and it was really nice to just be in that space with him. And we talked about a lot of things that happened like in my childhood, and his side of perspective, my side of perspective. And I love my dad so much. We have always gotten along really well. I think he's always been like my favorite parent ever since I was little. Like if it was like, who do you want to tuck you in, mom or dad? I would always say dad. And don't get me wrong, I love my mom, but me and my mom are so similar that I feel like we butt heads a lot more. And me and my dad are similar in certain ways, but we get along really well. Whereas my dad and my younger sister are so similar that they butt heads, but I get along with them so good. So it's just kind of funny how those dynamics play out within a family. But anyway, this kind of showed up right at the most perfect time, and I knew that I was going to get to go. I was waiting to hear if there was space for me to go, and I hadn't heard back, but I just decided that I wanted to go and I needed to go. And I went for Reiki right before I left Lloyd, literally probably a week before I knew if I was going to get to go. And when I got my Reiki done, my Reiki lady said, wow, Mother Ayahuasca's here. And I knew in that moment that it was time for me to go back and that it was all going to work out. And it worked out so perfectly. The timing was literally the only word. The only word that I can use to describe it is divine. And it was exactly what I needed. So the whole weekend is 3 days. You drink 3 different nights, and I kind of had an intention for the entire weekend, and I would build upon my intention each night as things unfolded for me. But essentially, before I even went there, I knew that my intention was just clarity in the direction of where I need to go, because my life is in such a unique position at the moment. I left home, I quit my jobs, I sold so much of what I own to limit the load, to let go of material possessions, to just feel lighter and not attached to being in my hometown, because I think I have tried to leave so many times in my life because there was just a deeper part of me that knew there was something else out there for me. And obviously the people that love me and want me to be around tried to convince you that, or tried to convince me that, I needed to plant my roots and I needed to stay there and our family's there. And there's all these reasons as to why I could have stayed, and I could have stayed forever because of all the people that I love, and I did love my job and all these things. But there's always this little whisper inside my mind that knew, that would remind me and show me in different ways that there's something else out there for me. So I finally listened. I was brave enough to jump, take the leap, take the steps, and now here I am. Anyway, we'll circle back to this in a moment when I explain the second time that I ever went to ayahuasca. First, you should know I've never had visions on ayahuasca. So if you hear stories about other people's ayahuasca experiences, most people say that they see things, they see like geometric, sacred geometry, have visions of like maybe people that have passed away. Just everybody's experience is so different and so unique. And being in the space and hearing other people's experiences of what they've had, I've heard a lot of different things, and I've never had visuals. The only thing that's ever happened to me is the second time that I went, I had this little ball of light show up, and it was purple, like bright purple. And it would be like a dot, and then it would like unfold and fan and kind of make like a little design, and then it would like close itself back into a dot, and it would keep going. And I saw it on the last night of my second trip, and then the third time that I went, it came back to me, and it started to come to me not at ayahuasca, but when I was like in a state of meditation, it would show up to me sometimes. So the first night that we got there, I was laying in my bed before I went down, just having a rest before we went into the ceremony. And I was already seeing visions of my little purple. I decided it was a fairy. I think it's like my little guardian fairy that's with me. And a side story to that is that my niece Lenny, who is 2.5, her and my sister went shopping, and she found this little purple fairy figurine, and she said, "Stop, Mom, this is so cute. We have to get this for Auntie Hannah." And I just think that was so special because my little fairy that I always see is purple. And so I have this little purple fairy, and I brought her with me to Bali. She comes with me everywhere because she's a little reminder of home and the magic and Lenny and all that good stuff. Anyway, so I saw this purple before we went into ceremony, and I was like, here we go. I'm going to have some crazy visions. I'm having visions before we even get down there, or at least the most visions I've ever had during a ceremony. So when you're in this space, you want to like meditate and not let your thoughts go crazy all over the place, because then I think it's harder to decide what is coming from the medicine, or what is like the chaos in your mind that you're just letting run rampant. And I do meditate, and I'm not great at meditating. I am all air, so my mind is often overstimulated with different thoughts and ideas and inspirations and all that good stuff. And not to the point where it drives me crazy. I understand how to navigate it well because it's just a part of who I am. But meditation is definitely something that I have to continue to practice and get better at throughout my life. So I was trying to meditate, and I kept having all these thoughts come to my brain, and I was like, okay, I'm going to turn this into a game to help me stay focused. So anytime that I would have a thought, I would take the thought in my mind and crumple it into like a piece of paper or a ball. And then I would hit it in my mind's eye with a baseball bat and watch that ball like fly far away. And then it would be like my mind was clear and I'd be in that state of meditation again. And then another thought would come in, and I kept doing that. And I think it might be my new favorite technique for meditating. So if you struggle with meditation and like thoughts always coming to you, try pretending to crumple it into like a paper ball and hit it away with a baseball bat, because it became very fun and also helpful for staying focused and staying in that state of meditation. So then I started to really be able to feel the medicine essentially moving around in my body. So I get this same very similar sensation when I get Reiki done. If you've ever had energy work or Reiki done before, I am very good at relaxing my body and being able to be completely in tune with like where I feel different sensations. So when I get Reiki done, it's like I can feel where they're moving the energy, what they're doing, what's coming up, all these things. So it was a very similar experience to that when I was in the medicine. And I sat up when the shaman sang to me, and my little purple fairy was like big and bright and vibrant and moving so much, and I could feel it even more intensely, the medicine moving around. And I think that it was a really cool experience, and it was definitely the most like visuals and colors that I have ever gotten before. My intention that I kept saying like in my mind and before I drank was help me see what's next for me. And I was thinking that I was going to get some sort of vision or idea or inspiration that was completely different than this route I have felt so called to walk on forever. Silly me. Obviously, it wasn't some different idea, but by the end of the night, I came to the conclusion that I still want to figure out a way to help this world heal as best I can, to learn and grow as much as I can so that I can be somebody who can be a coach and a teacher and all these things that I want to be. And also to be a mom, because I know that that is the next phase of my life that is coming a lot sooner than I maybe thought it was going to. And I'm very excited about that. What is next for me didn't show up as inspiration, as an idea or a project or any sort of thing that I needed to go or do or see or make or whatever. It was that I needed to learn discipline, because this is something I've always struggled with. And for different reasons. A, because if I don't have discipline to be able to create the life that I have this vision for, to be able to build a business, to be able to possibly go back to school to continue to learn what it is that I want to do, all these things take discipline and something that I need. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to make it to where I want to go. And also, with being a mom, I have to be good at discipline for myself, because children need structure and children need discipline, and understanding that discipline doesn't have to be mean or bad or all these connotations that I think the word has been given because of things that happened in our childhood. And I had a pretty good childhood. I'm not saying that, my parents were mean, but I think you hear the word discipline and you want to think mean and associate it with being mean or violent or hurtful or whatever that may be based on your life experiences. But discipline to help them have structure and routine, and to learn and understand that you have to, you know, go through certain things in order to get what you want. And yes, manifestation and magic and all of that is part of the process, but you still have to take aligned steps and aligned action. And that's where the discipline comes in, because I have a million ideas at one time and I can start one thing and then I get bored after 20 minutes and I want to start something else and I blow all over the place like the air I am. But I need that grounding. I need something to keep me anchored. I need discipline and structure so that I can have a routine, so that I can start to make these concrete changes in my life, steps towards the life that I want to build for myself. So I thought that was really beautiful and kind of poetic in a way, because I usually, if I would have gotten this answer before, I think I would have felt really frustrated or disheartened, because when you go and you have this experience, it's like, wow, I feel so inspired. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do all these things. I see things so differently. This is amazing. And don't get me wrong, every time I've went, it has made like amazing shifts for me in my life and my perspective and the choices that I've made moving forward. However, I would always go back home. I would go back to my old life. I went back to the same job. I went back to hanging out with my same friends and all these things. And it eventually felt like I wasn't making really any changes, although I was in little ways. And step by step, I shifted into this new version of myself that I've been trying to get to for so long, it feels like. But now I'm in such a beautiful position because my life is totally different. I did not go to that experience and go home and back to my old life, my old habits, my old way of living, my old situations, all those things. I have this clean slate to create this routine for myself, this discipline, this structure. And I got really excited about it because it didn't have to be this scary, mean thing that I was going to dread and, make all these promises to myself or ideas that I needed to do in my life, and then, a few months later not be doing them, and then thinking that I'm failing or whatever. Kind of this, you can't have this all or nothing mindset because it ends up being a total crash. So, anyway, I had this understanding that discipline was important. A, because I hope to become a mom in the next few years, and B, because of knowing what I want to create is going to come through hard work and dedication and all those things that it's going to take. And I have to make that decision for myself that I'm ready to move on and do something new and take those steps that I need to take to wake up every day and, do things that are going to benefit me in the long run and not give myself an option of doing it any other way. So that is something that I will be working on for probably the rest of my life, but definitely something that I'm focusing on right now, especially as I'm just got to Bali and my days are open with not really a lot to do. So it's kind of wonderful how perfectly divinely this all laid out for me. And this was only the first night. So then we move on to the second night, which was absolutely incredible. By the end of the night, I just had the most amazing experience. But when it started out, not a lot was happening. I was sitting in meditation and I was doing really good at my meditation and I was being really proud of myself. I didn't have to bat so many thoughts away with my little baseball bat, but I did if they came in. But I was in the state of prayer. I was saying prayers for everybody in my life. I was saying prayers to the earth, saying prayers for my life, for all this that I have to be grateful for. And then I started doing this meditation and I just went through all my chakras, felt into each energy and, how it felt, if it was out of balance, all these things. Since I'm also doing my chakra podcast series, I thought this was suiting because really getting into those energies gives me more clarity and understanding of what these energies are and what they represent in our life. And the more I deepen this knowledge and this practice, the more I learn and grow and can share with you guys. So, anyway, I did that and I spent a lot of time in my sacral chakra, just feeling around in there. And I love the sacral chakra because it's that space to create. And it's my womb space that I love to feel into because, yes, I want to manifest having babies. So, feeling like that space in where I'm going to grow them, but also the space in where I'm going to grow anything that I want to create and what I'm going to create moving forward, which I did kind of have a vision for. So hold on to the edge of your seats. We're going to get there. So anyway, I thought that the shaman didn't sing to me because I fell asleep for a while. I was so relaxed. And then I woke up and I was so disoriented because he moves around the room and he was going the opposite way. So he sang to me second instead of second last. And I was so lost. But I told myself before I went down that I was going to get up and go outside, because you're allowed to go upstairs and you're allowed to walk around as long as you're quiet and whatnot and come back to ceremony. But I always stay down there the whole time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to go outside and just have a moment outside in the peace and quiet and by myself. So I went out onto the deck, and it was such an amazing experience. I'm standing here in the mountains and it's absolutely dead quiet, other than you can hear like crickets and just like the wildlife. There was howling, and then there was a sound of this tiny little stream that I didn't even know was there, but I could hear it clear as day. Just a little trickle of water, and just complete peace was all I felt, like an overwhelming sensation of peace. And I stood there and just said this prayer to Creator, this creation that it's made for us, our home, this planet. It is such a beautiful piece of art that I don't think we give enough credit to ever. That planet Earth is like so freaking cool, you guys. I just think that we take it so much for granted because like Mother Earth provides us literally everything we need, and she is just so beautiful and abundant and glorious and all these things. So I just had this moment of complete and total gratitude, brought tears to my eyes, one of those moments that you just have tears of joy and happiness. So after I was done my little moment, I went back downstairs and laid down, and I realized that this biggest gift from creation that we get is the gift of creation. Our Creator gave us the gift of creation. And for me, I had this complete light bulb moment of, wow, I was experiencing the whole night a whole lot of nothing other than my meditations that I did going through all my chakras. I wasn't getting any super crazy insights. I wasn't getting any crazy visions, whatever. I was just sitting there like in peace and quiet and a whole lot of nothingness. And then it clicked for me that that nothingness was a representation of a blank canvas, this gift from God that I just sorry, I'm definitely might cry because this stuff always makes me so emotional. But I was given this absolutely gift from God, this slate that I cleared for myself. And was it easy? No. I'm going to miss my dancers. I'm going to miss my job. I already miss my family so much. And I've only been gone from them a month. And it's crazy because I have so much love for them, and that part of my life that I got to experience and share with them, I will never take that for granted. But the decision I made, that push I felt from the universe, led me to this place where I'm standing here and all that's in front of me is nothing. And instead of being fearful or scared or worried or whatever, uncomfortable of not knowing what's coming, I realized it was literally the greatest gift I could have ever been given, because I get to paint this canvas. I get to decide what's next for me. I get to create whatever it is I feel called to create, and deepening my relationship with Creator, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, deepens my intuition and understanding of what it is that I need to paint on this canvas, what it is that I can use my gifts and talents and abilities to create in order to make this impact I would like to have on the world, in order to share my voice and my gifts for good, to help people heal and have deeper understandings and whatever it is. So I was just instantly so happy, so full of gratitude, so thankful for the gift of creation. Like how like full circle, how beautiful is it that our Creator gave us the gift of creation? That's the greatest gift ever. manifestation. The fact that we literally create our realities, every decision that we make every day is shaping our realities, the mindset we have, the beliefs that we hold, how much we take care of ourselves, how well we take care of ourselves, how we love ourselves and others and the planet and the world, and all these things are an exact mirror to our life. We are creating our life every single day. And it's a gift. You could think of it as a blessing or a curse, but if you can see it in the positive light and understand that power that you hold and know that that is a gift, because you can have your blank canvas as well. You can put down the paintbrush of whatever it is you were painting that you didn't like and start completely over from scratch. That's the magic of it. So that was my experience. And then the ceremony was over. And after the ceremony's over, people will go upstairs and kind of hang out for a while because you're still high and chit chat and talk or whatever. So I went and sat with my dad and we had a really good talk and we laughed and we cried and it was good. And then I felt sick. So I went to the bathroom and I puked. And every time I always puke at ayahuasca because it's called purging, and it's essentially you're letting go of energy and gunk and whatever it is that you're holding in your body. You purge it out in different ways. You can puke, you can cry, you can poop, you can shake, you can yawn, whatever. However it's coming out, it's coming out, but it's part of the process and you just kind of have to trust it. It's honestly like so satisfying though, because you think, oh, that's so gross, but the way how good you feel after, you're like, let me puke, please, for the love of God, I hope I puke. Anyway, so I felt sick, so I went to the bathroom and I puked. And every other time in ayahuasca that I've puked, it's always been downstairs in the basement and it's dark, so you don't see anything. But this time I was upstairs and I was in the bathroom and it was like dimly lit, so I could see my puke. And I looked in the toilet and my puke was black as it is. Don't ask me why everything comes out black when you drink ayahuasca, but it does. And I looked at this energy in the toilet and it was disgusting. It was so gross. And I just had this moment of like a light bulb switch flick in my brain. And I've had this happen to me before at ayahuasca for different things. One was alcohol. I had quit drinking alcohol before I went to ayahuasca, but I felt the like ugly energy that is attached to it, and it was like, okay, I never need to do that again. And then it was the same for smoking weed, and I used to smoke weed a lot, but then the way that I understood the energy of the spirit of marijuana and how it's sticky, tarry, gooey, slows you down, and just felt that presence around me and realized how tired I was, my lack of motivation, my munchies, and wanting to be lazy and watch movies and all that stuff that comes with smoking weed. I just had a light bulb moment and I was like, I'm never going to do it again. And I haven't. And I've had no desire to do it again. I used to have dreams that I would smoke weed. It'd be like somebody would hand me a dab pen or something in my dream, and I'd be like, one hit's not going to kill me. And then I would be so mad at myself, and I would wake up almost like mad at myself, and I would have to remind myself that it was a dream. So I knew so deep down not to do that again because I would be so angry with myself. So now I had this flip of a switch for the next level of my health, my wellness, my journey, my understanding of energetics in the universe, of like everything that I put in my body has such an effect on my energy, on my life, on what I can manifest. Because I was having, my dad and my boyfriend were asking me questions about why we have to follow all these rules for ayahuasca, because you have to do a strict diet before you go. It's like you can't eat pork, red meat, dairy, salt, sugar, pretty much anything, but literally you eat really bland food. And oh, this happened. Okay, this happened before I puked, but it was part of the story because after we were done, we had a bunch of fruit cut up sitting out, and me and my dad were sitting on the couch eating fruit. And I said to him, oh my God, this is literally almost too sweet for me to eat right now. Like, it's so sweet. I couldn't even imagine eating a chocolate bar right now. Like, I would literally puke. It would make me so sick. And then I went to the bathroom and I puked. And I was like, oh my God, this is why you have to eat so strict before you do this diet. A, because you're trying to cleanse your body of toxins, because otherwise you're having your whole experience trying to cleanse your body of these toxins. So the more toxins you can eliminate before you go to have this experience, the better your experience is going to be, or the more you're going to maybe get out of the medicine, was kind of my understanding of it. And it was like not just for being in this place of ceremony and sitting with this medicine, but like every single day. And the moment that flip this switch flipped in my brain, I was so high. I had never had visions before. I was having visions. I could see this like pattern, this very honestly, probably if you were to Google like ayahuasca pattern vision thing, that's exactly what I was seeing. And I was staying in this room and it was right across the hall from the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, go into my bedroom. I was trying to put cream on my face and I was wearing my glasses and I couldn't see anything. And I was like taking off my glasses and putting them back on, and I realized I still couldn't see anything. And I was like laughing at myself because there was a guy the night before who was sharing his experience, and he said part of his experience, he was like, what are eyeballs even? I can't see anything. And so I had a little giggle to myself because I was having one of those moments myself. But what are eyes? I can't see anything, but I'm doing exactly what I need to do whether or not I can see it. And then I was like looking around and realizing that I could see the entire container that we were in, which was a really cool moment for me because they always say like in the medicine, and it makes sense to my brain what they mean when we say in the medicine, when you refer to it as in the medicine. But I saw it in the medicine and I thought that it was so cool. So we were in this like giant container, or when people say like holding space for you, the shaman's holding space for us to heal. And I could see it. We were in this like giant bubble and we were all inside the bubble together. And it was really, really cool. I was seeing some pretty cool shapes and stuff, and that was the most visions I've ever had, and I was so happy with that. And yeah, it was just divine. It was just beautiful. I was so grateful for that experience, for that switch to flip in my brain, because I am just, not that I haven't already tried to make my life healthier, not that I haven't already tried to cut out things from my life, but it's just giving me this like extreme radar of what I can and cannot eat, put in my body, use as products, things like that. And knowing that I have to stick to it and honor it, because otherwise I honestly feel so ill. And I think like the more you clean up your life, the more you eliminate toxins, the more you stop eating processed foods, the more you make these healthy decisions for yourself every day, the harder it is to go back, because it's like this with the diet. And it's funny because my dad was bugging me the whole time that he can't wait to eat a cheeseburger after this experience. And so you eat clean for so long before and after this medicine, and then you go try to go back to eating the foods that you were eating, and you would feel so sick. You have to slowly ease your way back into it. And you eat a burger and you're like, oh, this can taste so good, but then your tummy hurts so bad for the rest of the day, and you're like, oh, why did I do that? So it's just a reminder of how much better our bodies feel when we eat well, how much our energy feels better when we eat well, how much more energy we have to do the things we love, our focus, and things like that. Okay, so now that was only the second night, you guys. The third night, I think not a lot really happened. I had a little bit of visuals, nothing crazy, but I kind of felt a lot of inspiration of what I want to create on my blank canvas, a little bit of inspiration for me to move in the right direction. I had a lot of just peace and gratitude, and just feeling so good. My hip was bugging me so bad before I went to ayahuasca. My right hip often bugs me, and it's funny too because ironic the universe is just so creative. I love it. But I was diving into these chakras for these episode series that I've been doing, and your hips are root sacral. They kind of share that space. And so I had tightness in my hip so bad. And I looked up what that meant. And it was like, could be fear of moving forward. Like, what's next for you to create was essentially what it said. And I was like, oh, how wonderful. How lovely does it feel to get the answer that you maybe didn't want to hear but knew was true all along. So I just kind of had a laugh about that. But after I went to ayahuasca and I had all this clarity and confidence in knowing the direction I need to move and what's next for me, that pain completely disappeared. And even after a long drive home afterwards, usually my tailbone and my hips bother me because I've had a tailbone injury my whole life. I felt so good. And then I just traveled on a plane for literally one of my flights was 14 hours and the other was 5, and I have no hip pain. Knock on wood. That's insane. But just goes to show how powerful energy healing is, and that we literally truly do hold on to so much emotion and trauma and all these things inside our physical body, which is part of the vision or inspiration that I had for what is next for me and what I want to create, essentially a map of the human body linked to trauma, knowing that if we experience pain in this specific spot in our body, it is a result of a limiting belief, trauma that we've experienced in our life, an emotion, and something. Obviously, I don't know all the answers yet because it's what I will probably dedicate so much of my life and my time to from this point forward. But I feel really called to maybe go back to school and learn more as much as I can. I finished my Reiki master's, so I just need to practice doing that and working with energy in that way. I think that my time here in Bali is so significant because it's such a spiritual place. And I think that there is a lot here for me to learn. I'm spending so much time by myself here for the next 2 months. I'm very grateful for this place and this experience and everything that I'm going to learn. And being in this space all by myself means the decisions that I make are just for me every single day. I don't have to answer to anybody else. I don't have to go over here and help this person or that person or visit my parents or all those things in life that over time just add up and can take away your focus and your energy of what it is that you want to do. I got a new job that's in the realm of what I want to do, and I'm really excited because I'm learning a lot. It was a really awesome opportunity. I get to work from my computer so I can spend time traveling, and it kind of just fell in my lap too, like all these divine things that have been happening. So anyway, my that was essentially my ayahuasca experience. It was absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely divine. I feel so sure of this life that is starting to unfold for me. I feel a lot of peace in my decision to leave home, to quit teaching dance, to be away from my family, although I miss them all the time. I know I needed this space for myself in order to create what's next for me. And I know how much more I'm going to appreciate every second that I get to spend with them from here on out, because I can't take it for granted when I just get to see them randomly on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Thursday and, have all my little cousins over for a sleepover on the weekend. I'm going to have to be so intentional with my time when I get to go see them and go home and make sure I get to see all the people that I love so much. But I think that's part of life too. I can stay where I'm comfortable, where I know all these people, where I know I have a support system and I would be okay. I could live a life, but would I feel the most absolutely fulfilled? No. Would I always think that there was something more for me out there? Yeah, probably, because I felt that way for so long. And although people want to tell you, hey, you should be here, hey, we love you, hey, we want you around, and all these wonderful things, it's just, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And if the universe wanted me to go back there and end up there, I have every little bit of faith that that is where I would be then. But I just have a feeling that that's not where my journey is about to lead me, at least not for a little while, and that's okay too. So, anyway, that was what I had experienced, and I needed some time to let that sink in. And also, to travel to Bali was taking up a lot of my time, saying my goodbyes and all that good stuff. So, yeah, anyway, thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I will link my email because I've been taking a complete and total break from social media. I started a social media detox for my ayahuasca journey, and I deleted all my social media apps off my phone, and I honestly have no desire to get them back. I thought that I was going to document my entire experience in Bali. I thought that I was going to want to share everything that I'm doing here because it's beautiful. It's literally, the entire place is an Instagram backdrop. It's insane. But I just want to enjoy this experience. I just want to be present. I just want to walk around and explore and learn what I came here to learn. And I just don't really care to share it in a social media way. I'm going to share my experiences here about things that I learned and experiences that I've had, but I just don't think that I need to post about it. And I've been very much enjoying the clarity and peace of mind that I've been having, spending absolutely zero time on social media. So, if you ever want to reach out, chat, have questions, I will link my email in the description below because, at least for the foreseen future, I will not be using my social media accounts. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I love each and every one of you. The fact that you guys continue to show up and support and be here, that I don't feel like I'm just talking to a wall looking at my computer screen, brings me a lot of joy and gratitude and happiness. And I really hope that this podcast can grow into something even bigger one day so that I can share my voice in a way I feel called to do, to help people, and a free resource for people to listen to and maybe make little changes in their own life that will help them over time. So if you enjoy this episode or this podcast, or anything that I have to say resonates with you, feel free to share it on your social media or send it to somebody that you love. Every little bit counts, trying to make this grow even more into something I really have a vision for it to be. But I really don't promote it. I don't have TikTok or Instagram for this. And I kind of just am letting the universe do its thing. So if you feel called to share and help me grow this, then please do so, and know that I'm forever grateful and I love you all so much. So I will talk to you next week, and yeah, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I hope that something magical happens to you today, and I hope you realize that you also have a blank canvas in front of you, and you can also create anything that you want to in your life. So never forget that. Love you. Bye.